Hello, everyone. Before we begin, I just want to thank all of you for attending this conference, despite these abnormal circumstances. I would also like to thank all who are involved in the organization and planning of this conference. I am thrilled to be a part of a writing community that continues to create ways in which students can showcase research and create discussions around extremely important topics. Today, you'll be learning about mindfulness and mindfulness meditation, and why and how they can be applied to the Writing Center and tutor stressful and sometimes anxiety-filled lives. My name is Grace Burlett, and I'm a sophomore at St. Lawrence University in Canton, New York. I'm pursuing an environmental studies major while also working at St. Lawrence University's Communication Center, which we call the Word Studio, standing for Written and Oral Communication, Research, and Design. Prior to this presentation, I want to walk you through a brief guided meditation focused on your breath. So please find a comfortable position and an environment where you won't be distracted too much. Gently soften your gaze or close your eyes, whatever feels right to you in this moment, and place your hands clasped or unclasped in your lap or hanging at your sides. Begin by taking a few deep breaths in whatever way is most natural for you, just bringing your attention to your breathing as it is. Fully engage and focus on these breaths as you allow your breathing to come to a comfortable and natural rhythm. We're not trying to change your breath right now. We're just noticing it as it is. And as you continue to be mindful of your breath, begin to slow down and deepen each breath you take. How is the inhale different from the exhale? Notice your stomach expanding with the inhale and contracting with the exhale. Feel the air moving in and out of your mouth or nose. Notice how your body feels in this moment. And as you breathe, you might hear outside noises or movement on another floor, a background conversation. Allow these sounds to happen as they are and return your focus to your breath. You might also be distracted by sensations in your body, such as itches or any discomforts that may arise. Or you might find your mind distracted or wandering. Acknowledge those outside thoughts. They are no harm to you right now. It's all right to have them. We're not trying to push them away or judge them. We're just letting them be. Imagine these thoughts floating past you like a cloud or a leaf floating down a river. And without judgment of these thoughts, return your attention to the breath. And as we come to the end of this mindfulness practice, allow your breathing to return to its normal rhythm. And when you're ready, gently wiggle your fingers and toes, roll your shoulders, and flutter your eyes open. And just take a moment to be right here, right now. And as you refocus your attention toward my presentation, please continue this mindful breathing throughout the rest of my presentation. As you listen to why mindfulness is vital in these times and in the Writing Center. Notice if your mind wanders or if your focus leaves the presentation and your breathing, and see if you can bring your focus back. Thank you for doing that meditation with me. Let me outline for you what order we'll move in today. I'll introduce mindfulness for those of our audience members that are just getting introduced to it today. Then I'll address the aspect of tutoring as a performance, creating the need for mindfulness in the Writing Center for tutors, especially in the middle of a pandemic. Next, I'll describe a few of the most important benefits of mindfulness for the mental health of tutors and their ability to focus and concentrate during a virtual tutorial. And then I'll leave you with some concluding thoughts and ideas as to how to continue this mindfulness practice going forward. Throughout my presentation, I'll be referencing a very prominent Writing Center director in the world of mindfulness meditation and Writing Center work. His name is Jared Featherstone, and he is the head coordinator of the Writing Center at James Madison University. In his 2019 article, The Mindful Tutor, in the Journal of Writing Center Scholarship, Featherstone defines mindfulness as the ability to be sharply aware of experiences as they occur in real time. If one is considered mindful, one is consciously paying attention to their surroundings and their bodily feelings, rather than being consumed by their thoughts, imagination, or tasks to be done in the future. Now, you might be asking yourself, how is mindfulness relevant to our work in the Writing Center? Why is it relevant now of all times? I considered these questions throughout my first year at St. Lawrence University, where I was involved in a choral group called the Laurentian Singers. We practiced diligently at least 3 times a week, and we performed at community concert halls and around campus. While I was involved with Laurentian Singers, I was also taking the required class for new tutors at my university's communication center. And through the attendance at the class and choral performances, I was able to see the similarities between performing and tutoring in my communication center. Tutoring is a performance, and performance is hard, but even more so now during a pandemic, creating the need for even more mindful tutors and writing centers across the country. Although the connection between singing, performance, and tutoring in a writing center may not be all that apparent, the connection is there. Both require much needed practice and rehearsal of content. Both require vulnerability, patience, and interacting with an audience, or in the case of a tutorial, a tutee. Both can be anxiety-producing, and both necessitate mindful breathing and mindful thinking, as the performer in both situations must be aware of and acknowledge their surroundings and the people that they are interacting with, changing their performance and their energy as needed with the circumstances. Performances in and of themselves are anxiety-producing, and tutoring as a performance was most likely draining for tutors when tutoring was in person. Now tutorials must be conducted through a screen, allowing for distractions to occur on both the side of the tutor and the tutee, such as phone and computer notifications, other tabs open, and factors out of our control, like background conversations and noises. Performance-related anxiety can come from a difficult tutoring scenario, a tutee that harbors anxious energy, or even just a tutor's fear that the tutee will not gain knowledge from the tutorial, or that they will be too directive. When all of these worries and apprehensions are piled up on top of one another, it can lead to the tutor becoming extremely overwhelmed and unsure of how to deal with it all. In addition to the aspect of tutoring being a performance, the world is in a really strange place right now, and this transition can be stressful, as it involves adjusting to a global pandemic, the uncertainty of the upcoming election and Supreme Court, current racial injustices, and a new school year filled with challenging course material and restrictions on students' social lives. In addition to this, tutors and writing centers, more often than not, are highly ambitious and anxious students that must attempt to balance their social lives, schoolwork, and work in the writing center. From this transition comes an even greater need to look at and focus on tutors' mental health and ability to stay grounded and mindful in these uncertain times. In a webinar event in April of this year, Dana Driscoll, the Communication Center Director of the Indiana University of Pennsylvania's Communication Center, discussed the many barriers to self-care that students are experiencing right now. She addressed the already high rates of the three barriers to self-care: academic guilt, burnout, and imposter syndrome that were prevalent at IUP before the mounting stress of the pandemic, and all of the changes associated with it. These three barriers are related to, if not a result of, built-up anxiety, depression, and stress. Academic guilt is directly related to burnout, as those who experience academic guilt feel the need to constantly be on or working in some capacity. They may feel guilty for taking time for themselves, to relax or just do nothing, and this can result in unintended burnout, in which they have reached the point of emotional exhaustion from excessive stress, and are overwhelmed and stressed continually. Imposter syndrome is a similar anxiety in which students and academics fear that they will be discovered as frauds because they believe that they are undeserving of their accomplishments and achievements. They will often find that they need to prove themselves as being capable and intelligent. Now that we've identified the problem of tutoring being a performance and all of the stressors associated with it, I want to give you some relief by discussing some of the benefits that mindfulness meditation can provide you. In the previously mentioned article, The Mindful Tutor by Featherstone, two of the benefits that Featherstone emphasized were mental focus and stress reduction. These are the two that I have chosen to discuss today, although there are countless benefits that one can take from mindfulness. Mental focus refers to the ability of the mind to focus on one environment, task, or activity at a time. These are often referred to as anchors, as they help to ground you when you become unfocused or distracted. This was practiced in the guided meditation earlier, as we tried to aim our focus solely on our breathing, bringing our attention back to it when our mind wandered and our mental focus strayed to something else that we found more important in the moment. This practice of mental focus during mindfulness meditation can then later be applied in the context of a tutorial, when the tutor's mind wanders. The focus or anchor of the session can be the breath, the tutee's voice, the thesis of the paper, or the feel of the chair or clothing on you. The other benefit that Featherstone also writes about is stress reduction. Large amounts of stress can impact the ability of the tutor to help the tutee to the best of their ability, as this stress can overwhelm the tutor and prevent an efficient tutorial from occurring. Mindfulness meditation can help one improve upon the ways in which they handle large amounts of stress and the feeling of being overwhelmed. When a tutorial session is particularly stress-inducing, being able to pull from one's stress management skills is particularly important. Skills such as learning how to be patient with oneself, recentering one's focus from their overwhelming thoughts to the tutorial at hand, relaxing the body through breath control and mindful thinking, and becoming more self-aware and grounded. I have only chosen a few benefits that I find important, but know that there are plenty more. As I conclude my presentation today, I want to leave you with some thoughts of how you can continue to be mindful going forward. I know that we all have busy lives, but I challenge you for the next 3 days to spend 5 to 10 minutes doing mindfulness meditation before you leave for work, school, or wherever you need to be that morning. Whether you just sit in silence focusing on your breath, or you look up a mindful breathing meditation on YouTube, taking time for yourself is important, especially today. If this isn't possible, as we all have incredibly busy lives, I want you to try to practice mindfulness during your next tutorial. Whether this means just being aware of when the mind wanders during a tutorial, or if it means bringing your attention back to an anchor or focus if you get distracted. Mindfulness is especially pertinent in today's virtual meeting-filled world. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that my presentation encouraged you to reserve time and space for yourself in this busy world. Please stay safe and healthy, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at gcbrou19@stlawU.edu. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.